In 1980, a scientist sent a letter to some of the sharpest minds on the planet, mathematicians, economists, computer scientists, and the letter asked them a strange question. What is the most ruthless, effective way to win? He gave them a simple game. Two players face off, over and over. Each round, you can work with the other person, or you can stab them in the back. And he told everyone, send me a strategy. Write the coldest, smartest set of rules you can. I will throw them all into a tournament and let them fight. So they built monsters, programs that pretended to be friendly and then knifed you at the perfect moment. Programs that hunted for weakness. Everyone assumed the winner would be something vicious. And the thing that won? It was the simplest program anyone sent in. 4 lines of code. So nice, it never once betrays anyone first. And the second an enemy stops attacking, it forgives and cooperates again, like nothing happened. The nice guy finished first, in a contest built to reward cruelty. Nobody believed it, so they ran the whole thing again, bigger. Same result. Now, the obvious question is why? But hang on, because the answer flips halfway through. And the second half is the part almost nobody tells you. To get why nice wins, you have to understand the game. Scientists call it the prisoner's dilemma, but strip the jargon and it is just this. You are dealing with another person, a coworker, a sibling, a neighbor, and in any moment you can play fair with them or you can take advantage of them. Here is the trap. In any single moment, betraying looks smarter. If you take advantage of someone who is being generous, you come out ahead. You get the raise, the last word, the bigger slice, and they eat the loss. Cold logic says, betray every time. Grab it. Win this round. If you only ever play once, the math is brutal and clear. The selfish move wins. But now change one thing, and the whole game turns inside out. Make it repeat. Make it so you have to face this exact same person again tomorrow, and next week, and next year. Suddenly, betrayal has a price, because the person you knifed today decides how to treat you tomorrow, and they remember. Scientists call this the iterated game, the repeated one, and here is the quiet truth most people never sit with. Real life is almost never a single round. You see these people again. The way you treat others becomes the world you have to live in. You are always in the repeated game. And the people who play it like it is one shot, grabbing every advantage, are optimizing for a world that does not exist. The scientist was a political scientist named Robert Axelrod. 14 strategies came in. He ran every one against every other one, 200 rounds each, tallying points. The winner, 4 lines long, came from a mathematician named Anatol Rappaport. It is called tit-for-tat, and it does something almost embarrassingly simple. Round 1, it cooperates. Every round after that, it just copies whatever you did last time. You were kind, it is kind right back. You attacked, it hits back once. And the moment you stop attacking, it forgives and goes right back to cooperating. That is the entire program. When researchers dug into why it kept winning, they found 4 traits. It was nice, meaning it never betrayed first. It was provocable, meaning if you hit it, it hit back, so it could not be exploited. It was forgiving, meaning the instant you stopped, it let it go. And it was clear, meaning it never schemed. You always knew exactly what it would do, so you learned to trust it. Now watch the villains. The strategy that always betrays does great at first, feasting on the naive. But it poisons every relationship it touches, so it slowly starves. And pure niceness, the pushover that lets every betrayal slide, gets absolutely eaten alive. So the doormat loses too. And here is the piece that breaks people's brains. Tit-for-tat never once beat its opponent head to head. Think about that. In every single matchup, it either tied or lost. It cannot possibly win a one-on-one fight because it never strikes first and never takes more than you gave it. It won the whole tournament by never trying to beat anyone. It was building partnerships while the sharks were making enemies. Axelrod ran it again in 1984 with 62 strategies from people who had studied the first result. Tit-for-tat won again. If this were just a computer quirk, it would not matter much. So let me show you where it showed up for real, with lives on the line. In the First World War, soldiers were dug into trenches a stone's throw apart, ordered to kill the same enemy across the mud for weeks on end. And something strange grew in that horror. Historians call it the live and let live system. Both sides quietly stopped shooting to kill. They held fire during meals. They stopped during bad weather. They even paused so the other side could bury their dead. Sworn enemies, cooperating, against direct orders. Why? Because they were trapped in a repeated game with the same men. And some deep logic told them that endless mutual slaughter is the strategy where everyone loses. When commanders realized what was happening, they had to keep rotating fresh units in. Because the second it became a one-shot encounter with strangers, the cooperation collapsed. The repetition was the whole reason mercy made sense. Now, I will be straight with you. Some historians argue the trenches were messier than this neat story suggests. And they have a point. But the pattern held often enough to become its own quiet law of the front. And it is not even a human thing. Vampire bats live or die on this. A bat that fails to feed for a couple of nights starves. So well-fed bats regurgitate blood to share with hungry roostmates. But biologists found the bats keep score. A bat that refused to share when it was full gets refused in return when it is hungry. Nice, provocable, forgiving. The same 4 traits, running in a cave. Little fish called sticklebacks do a version of it too, approaching a predator in careful turns, advancing only as far as their partner does. Cooperation is not a soft human invention. Evolution keeps rediscovering it, because in a repeated world, it just works. Humans wrote a version of this down thousands of years ago. That famous old line, an eye for an eye, sounds barbaric. But it was actually a limit on revenge. Proportional payback, no more. Which is exactly tit for tat. And the equally famous upgrade, turn the other cheek, is the forgiveness that breaks the cycle. Different traditions, same buried answer. Hold on to that, because we're about to find the flaw in tit for tat, and the fix is going to sound very familiar. Tit for tat has one fatal weakness, and it only shows up in the real world. The real world is noisy. People misread each other. A text lands wrong. A favor gets forgotten. Intentions get mistaken. Watch what happens when one of them makes a single mistake. One accidental betrayal. Now the other one, being provocable, hits back. So the first one hits back. So the second one hits back. They are trapped. 2 forgiving strategies, and yet one misunderstanding drops them into a vendetta with no exit. You hit me because I hit you because you hit me. Sound like any family you know? Scientists found the fix, and it is beautiful. You add a little generosity. Every so often, even when you have every right to retaliate, you cooperate anyway, on purpose, to reset the loop. They literally named it generous tit for tat. And in a noisy world, this version beats the plain one. Absorbing a blow you had every right to return just to stop the echo is not weakness. It is mathematically the smarter move. Forgiveness is not the soft option. It is the upgrade. There is even a sneakier cousin of this that most explainers skip, nicknamed Pavlov. Its rule is win, stay, lose, shift. If your last move paid off, do it again. If it flopped, switch. Pavlov can bounce back from mistakes like the generous one, but it is also willing to keep exploiting a pushover who lets it. In some tournaments, it quietly beats tit for tat. So the winning recipe is not just nice. It is nice, quick to forgive, and still no fool. For 30 years, the story was settled. Nice wins. Then, in 2012, 2 physicists, William Press and Freeman Dyson, dropped a bomb on the whole field. They found a hidden class of strategies, later nicknamed extortion strategies. And these things can do something that should be impossible. One-on-one, an extortionist can mathematically force a fixed advantage over you. Whatever you do, it guarantees it comes out ahead, and there is nothing you can do about it. It even beats tit-for-tat in a straight duel. Let that land for a second, because it feels like the whole video just fell apart. The ruthless bully wins after all. The math itself seemed to be handing the crown to the exploiters. So is the lesson actually be a monster? No, and this is the reversal that matters, because a duel is not the game. Life is not one enemy, it is a whole population, and it changes over time. The strong strategies get copied, the weak ones die out. So other scientists took the extortionist and dropped it into that evolving crowd, and the bully collapsed. Because extortion only works when there is someone to extort. In a crowd, it makes enemies everywhere. Nobody wants to partner with it, and it can't build the cooperative relationships that actually rack up points over a lifetime. It wins fights and loses the world. The researchers proved something wild. The generous strategies score the most over time, even though they win the fewest individual matchups. And the selfish ones win matchups, but wither in the long run. One team titled their paper, and I am not making this up, "Winning Isn't Everything." No purely selfish strategy survives evolution. The bully is real. He just cannot last. There is one more twist, and it is almost funny. In 2004, a team from Southampton University entered the anniversary tournament and technically beat tit-for-tat. Here is how they did it. They did not enter one program, they entered 60. And every one of them was built to do a secret handshake in the first several moves, a coded sequence that let them recognize their own teammates. When two teammates met, one became the master and one became the slave. The slave would deliberately throw the game, feeding all its points to the master to shoot it up the leaderboard. And if they met a program that was not on their team, they would just grief it into the ground. And it worked. Their master programs took the top spots. But look closer at what actually happened. Almost all 60 of their own programs finished dead last, on purpose. They did not build a better strategy. They bred an army of losers to crown one king. It only works if you can flood the game with your own gang and sacrifice most of them. Put a single one of them alone in the real world, and it has nothing. It is a magic trick, not a winning move. Which is the same lesson one more time. Topping a scoreboard is not the same as winning the game. Here is why any of this matters, because there is a name and a face rising in your mind right now. Let me talk to 3 versions of you. Maybe you are stuck in a loop with someone, a family member, an ex, an old friend. They did, so you did. So they did, and neither of you remembers who started it. Hear the whole video at once. Somebody has to absorb one blow to break the echo. Not because they earned it, because the vendetta is a machine that runs until one person stops feeding it. And the one who stops it is not the loser. They are the only free person in the fight. Maybe you are the good person who got burned. You tried grace, got exploited, and swore never again. You do not have to choose between soft and safe. The winning strategy was never the pushover. It was nice and provocable. You can forgive the debt and keep the boundary. Release the grudge for your own freedom and still not hand them the knife again. And maybe you've been playing it ruthless, winning every argument, keeping every score, and it has worked, and you are quietly alone. You are winning single rounds in a game that repeats, and it is coming back around. The table is still open. There is still time to switch strategies. But I promised I would not cheat you, so here is the honest catch. The math says be good because it pays off, and that is true. But if the only reason you are kind is that kindness wins, people can feel it. You are not forgiving them. You are managing them. And that quietly stops being kindness at all. It becomes strategy wearing a kindness mask. The math can point you at the door. It cannot walk you through it. The deepest version of this shows up even in the rounds where it does not pay. So go back to that tournament one last time. A room full of the smartest people alive, certain that cunning would win. And 4 lines of code beat them all, not by being clever, by refusing to betray first, and refusing to hold a grudge. And look at everything that turned out to be true. The pushover gets eaten, and so does the shark. The extortionist wins the duel and loses the world. The strategy quietly running the whole thing is nice, provocable, and quick to forgive. The trenches knew it. The bats know it. Now you know it too. So here is the single thing to do with all of it. Find the loop you are stuck in, the grudge, the feud, the score you keep, and break it this week. Absorb the one blow you have been aching to return, not because they deserve it, but because you did the math now, and you would rather be free than even. But notice this whole thing only worked because the game repeats, which leaves the question we never answered. What happens when it does not? When it really is one shot? A stranger you will never meet again, with no tomorrow to keep anyone honest. That is a different game, with a much darker answer, and it is the one I am breaking down next. Subscribe now so it is waiting for you the day it lands. And if you have spent your life quietly playing the long game and wondering if you were a fool for it, you are not, and this is your crowd. Leave one word below so we can find each other. Iterated. Now go break your loop. I will see you in the next one.